Hi everyone, here we go. Second of the series of little posts that we're putting out for everybody. Welcome to, I guess, the first week anniversary of in the lockdown. It's kind of crazy stuff. You may have seen a post we put out yesterday in relation to dreams. If you're having weird dreams or if you're feeling really tired these days, there is a reason for that. We're all kind of overwhelmed with things. Simple decisions are getting a little bit more complicated than they used to be. And we're worrying about the future, etc. So this is one way of dealing with things in the past, because oftentimes when we are thinking about future events and when we're worried and concerned, our brain goes back to all sorts of other worrying and concerning things. So here's a way of dealing with something in our past. Do you know, we should, it said we should be in the moment and only look forward, but every now and then it's good to look back. And so and you should never look back to adversity, but I'm going to ask you to do so, and there's a specific reason for that. I think there's two reasons why we should look back in time. One is to go to good things, to have good memories, and the other one is to see how far we've come. And that's what we're going to do today, to see how far we've come. That's the only two times I think we should look back. Look back to good times or see how far we've come. Now, when I do my presentations in major events, etc., the other day, 220 people in the room, and I asked them all to put their hand up. Put your hand down if you've never had anxiety and or depression and or thoughts of suicide in your life, as a personal person, or had some form of major adversity. 2 people put their hand down. So that's how common these things are. And every so often they play in our mind. They come back. So here's a way of dealing with those things, to put them into perspective. As you know, we've got a negativity bias. We are looking for danger all the time. We only remember bad things. 80% of our memories are bad things, blah, blah, blah. And so here's a way of dealing with that stuff. So what I want you to do, and this will be up on our page for a while, so there's a bit of work to do here. You do it by yourself. And you're going to write things down. The reason why we get you to write things down is there's lots of research on this. The research suggests that when we write something down, it puts it into our subconscious brain. And so by writing, you should only write out goals. And it says write goals, not type goals. So when we write, we're putting it in our subconscious. So we're going to get a paper and pen. You don't have to get it right now. We can replay this later on. So what I want you to do is to think back to that setback you had in your life. So what was it that happened to you? Write that down. And then right beside it, put how you felt. Write what the feeling was at the time after this event. So what you were going through. And as more detail as you can put into that as possible is the best. Now, the reason for that is when we've had an event happen to us, at the time that it happens, we go through the fight or flight, right? Now, when we remember that event, we go through that same physiological and psychological reaction again. And so if you're finding adversity, things in your past that keep coming back to you, then this will help lessen it, because it will be able to compare. We should never compare ourselves with others. That's just wrong. Compare yourself with yourself is what we're going to do here. You're going to compare yourself with yourself to see how far you've come, to look for the positives in what happened. And there's always some positives. So first thing, write down what it was and how you felt about it. Now I want you to come back to today, and there's a number of ways of comparing. So the first one is to, what's changed since then? What's changed in your life since that adversity? What have you learned? Special forces do this when they've finished doing whatever role they've done. They come back and have a debrief. And what they do is, rather than say what went wrong and whose fault was it, what did we do well and what will we do differently? And that's what you're going to do. So what's changed since then? What are the positives to take out of it? How far have you come since then? What got you to where you are now? I'll bet it's you. I bet we don't reach out for help, do we? We don't. And so I bet it's things that you've done. So write down that as another way. What goals have you reached? I don't write down goals, believe it or not, these days, because the power of goals is quite powerful, and I've got a little bit frightened about some of my goals, and that's a personal story of mine. I have started to go back to it, but for a while I dropped off. It's all to do with fear and fear of failure from success. So again, it's a personal thing that we often go through. So what goals have you reached since that time? And now also look at what are your new priorities. So those are 5 ways of comparing what it was like then to what it was now. The next thing you're going to do is work out what were the positives that you learned. So I look at my depression. So I had depression and was suicidal. I admit to having one suicidal ideation, it's called, looking out the window of a building and thinking, well, it's not high enough. And knowing I knew what it was, because I'd just become a crisis negotiator and knew I had to go and get help. So I had that little lucid moment of crikey. So what positives did I learn? Well, I've now learned feelings inside me. I know when I'm starting to fall down that hole, and I know that I have to stop and do something different. So that's what I've learned from that adversity. What am I looking forward to from here? That's what you're going to do next. What are you looking forward to? And there's lots of things. I mean, at the moment we're in this 1 week anniversary. Happy anniversary, everybody, of the lockdown. 1 week. What are you looking forward to from here? Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what the changes will be. I really am. I'm looking forward to seeing new beginnings. We live next to the estuary and a walkway, and we're just laughing before because people are physically distancing. There's a footpath that's, I don't know, it's 1.5 meters, 2 meters apart. People are walking with friends on the grass and shouting, so we can hear everything that's going on. So it's very cool. So just let you know that you don't want to talk about intimate stuff when you're going for a walk with your friend, because we can hear it. So what are you looking forward to from here? There's all sorts of things. What are you looking forward to right today? And then the next day and the next day and the next day. So look forward to good things coming up is the way to do it. The last thing I want you to do is, what is one thing that you will do each day to keep moving forward? So by doing this simple, practical exercise and then returning to it, puts everything inside our brain into perspective. As I say, when we're going through adversity and changing times like we are now, changing, not challenging, and they are a little bit challenging, when we go through those things, we tend to, all our negative stuff come back into our memory, and it keeps reminding us it's trying to help. Is this helpful? Is this helpful? Is it? No, it's not helpful. Shut up. You're trying to think to yourself. And if we don't stop it, it becomes all consuming, because all it does is add to our bucket from the past, and we thought we buried it, but it keeps coming back. I hope that makes sense. So just going back over it, what are we going to do? So we're going to, as you can see, I've got something going on my slides here. We think back to the setback, and we write how we felt. Then we compare where we were then to where we are now, and only the positives. So what's changed since then? What's changed in your life? What have you learned? How far have you come? I bet you've come a really long way. Again, those little reminders that we have about past negative events are there to keep us safe, reminding us, don't be a dick. So don't be a dick. What got you to where you are now? How was it? People that helped you? Was it you that helped you? Bit of both, probably. A bit of self-reflection sometimes, a bit scary, because you do have to look back sometimes, and I'm going to take you back to that little uncomfortable place, and you will feel a little uncomfortable, but trust me, when you do this, you'll come out of this feeling invigorated. What goals have you reached since then? What's changed in your life, and what are your new priorities? And then we're going to, what positives did you learn? What are you looking forward to from here? And what's one thing you'll do every day? It's changing little things too. So it's hard to break habits, neural pathways. So just do one little thing each day to keep moving forward, and repeat that. And when that's ingrained, it takes about a month or two, 60 to 80 days. So keep doing that, and then another thing, and then another thing. And that's how we overcome adversity. I hope it's been helpful. I look forward to catching up with you all next week. Make sure you keep those messages coming through. Anything you want me to speak about and talk about that might be helpful to you. If you have any questions, jump on the webpage there onto warninternational.com. Send through your questions. If you're feeling down, please do contact me. My phone number is on the internet. Happy to do so. We're all in this together, aren't we? So take care. Thanks so very much for watching.